Down. The battlecruisers and Vikings coming forward. Seeker missiles going. Oh, the Vikings! Oh my goodness, that was insane. I don't even know what to think about that. Huge.
What's up, guys? I think Vindicator is about to talk.
Yeah, I was trying to fix with my mic. Like, my mic was for some reason not turning on. Dude, guys, what is up? It is now time for the series number 2 of today's Sunday doubleheader. I am Vindicator, and with me is Niter. We are going to be jumping into game number 1 between Impulse Esports versus My Intent, and this is going to be sick, Niter. This is going to be so sick. I am so stoked.
Yeah. I'm actually really excited for this. You know what? Okay, so I'm an Impulse player, as most people in the stream probably know. So I might be a tad biased. I'm gonna try so hard not to be. I'm gonna do my complete best, trying to stay a professional side. But just in case you guys feel like, oh, he seems a little bit on one side, well, you know why. But you know, in the end, I don't affect the game at all. I might only affect the cast. And Vindicator is gonna make up for me. But in the end, I'm pretty stoked to see this game. We are throwing in our ace player. Well, Impulse is throwing in their ace player first, Ender. So that's gonna be interesting. You know, putting your ace player in first game, and then Mcleod, a Grandmaster Terran. So it's gonna be 2 Grandmaster Terrans playing for the first game on Cloud Kingdom. This is gonna be a sick game. I'm really stoked to see what happens.
Niter, if you're gonna be slightly Impulse biased today, I am going to be slightly MYI biased today. I don't care. These two teams are both incredibly awesome. Team MYI, since I didn't get a chance to say it already, is making their debut in Season 3. This is our runner-up from Season number 2. They got a bye in the first week, so this is the first series that they will be playing in ISTL Season number 3. And we have one hell of a Game 1 coming up for you in just a moment. Niter, why don't you introduce our first player spawning down here in the blue?
Okay, so in the bottom left, we have Ender playing for Team Impulse. He is the blue Terran.
And spawning up here in the top right, we have the ace player for Team MYI. He is a former Grandmaster Terran player, extremely good Terran player from Team My Intent. He is Mcleod. Okay, so here we go, guys. We have the ace players from both teams starting in game 1. This is a complete coincidence. Now, Ender volunteered to play on Cloud Kingdom because he really wanted to play on this map.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure what the thought process was of sending out Mcleod so early for Team MYI, but I don't know if they really expected to be going up against Ender in game number 1. So this is going to be quite an interesting turn of events for both of these teams.
You know, I absolutely love StarCraft. Like, I played rugby, football, almost every single sport in my lifetime, and I love them to death. But the one thing I really like about StarCraft is how unique it is in the fact that, yeah, everyone has their playstyles in different sports, but in StarCraft, it's so distinct, your playstyle. You know, you either are like a mech player or you're like, you know, a Fester player, a Muta player. But then on top of that, how you have your, like, favorite maps. You know what I mean? Like, Ender volunteering right away when he saw Cloud Kingdom was first map, it shows that he really likes his map. And it's just a cool idea how, like, you know, in StarCraft, you have your map kind of thing. You know, you have the place where you feel comfortable. And I just think that's what's so cool about esports in general, you know?
Yeah, I mean, in the ISTL, the Cloud Kingdom is always map number 1, and because Ender is the ace player for Impulse, Impulse doesn't normally send him out this early. So you've got kind of a tricky situation where your best player isn't playing on his favorite map because he never gets to go out first against the opposing teams. So this is the first time I've ever seen Ender out this early for Impulse. This is also the first time I've ever seen him on Cloud Kingdom. But I could say the same about Mcleod. I've never seen him this early in a series, and I've never seen him on this map. And I've never seen him in a TVT that is this high level. So both of these players, I cannot hype these two guys up enough. They are both very, very strong Terrans. Easily some of the top 2 Terrans that we have in the ISTL. Okay, so Snyder, we have a gas down very, very early before Barracks for Ender. What do you think he's up to?
I mean, I know Ender pretty well. Every single time I play him, he will do one of 2 things, okay? He'll either play extremely greedy, okay? Extremely greedy, crazy, really fast spam, or he will play extremely aggressive. He'll always do one of the other 2. And that's why I have some trouble against him. Because, one game, I'll feel like, oh, he's going to be really greedy this game, because he always denies that early scouting against Protoss. Not so much against Terran, because he can't really, but he'll play one of 2 bipolar sides, and so he'll either hit you with like a crazy timing, you're like not at all prepared because you felt you were going to play greedy, and the next game in the best of 3, bam, he's going like for a command center first. You know what I mean? And right now, I feel like he's going for that really, really aggressive style. He already has the reactor down, and like you said, a really, really quick refinery, quick refinery, and then it looks like Mcleod's going command center first. Is that how you say his name, Mcleod? It looks like it should be like Mcleod. Mcleod's way easier to say, but I don't see.
I think it is actually Mcleod. We've had this conversation before about Mcleod.
We'll see in the chat. Someone from Team MYI, type in the chat how to pronounce his name the right way, like with syllables and all that good stuff. But right now, it just looks like Ender's putting up his full wall off. He's sending out Marines. He's got some Hellions coming and a starport. So I feel like he's gonna do his He likes to do kind of like back of the base drop. I've seen him do this a few times in practice games where he'll pick up the Hellions and the Marines in one medevac, put them in the back of the base, and just scoot them right into the base of the person he's playing against.
Yeah, this is kind of this opening from Ender is becoming a little bit more popular lately. It is a Hellion Marine elevator play coming off of one base. Now, one thing that this build is very, very good for is dealing with early Banshee openings from your opponent. Now, the reason why is because you start off with this 1-1-1 opening, which allows you to go straight into Viking production, but also if your opponent is going for Banshee play and is being greedy behind it, like Mcleod might have been doing for Ender, you might actually just do a ton of damage to him. So this is a really solid opening from Ender, and Mcleod doesn't look like he's really ready for this. He is starting Hellion production of his own. He does have a single bunker down at the bottom of his ramp, but his Marine count is very, very low. The Marine count is now 9 to 4 with a single medevac coming out on the field, which is going to make a big difference.
In the end, Mcleod, he has that command center down. That's 8 Marines worth of minerals, or 4 Hellions. How can he possibly hold this without really good control?
Well, now we have the Marines that are elevating their way into the main base. Our SCVs are probably going to need to be pulled if he wants to hold this up. Viking is in production. That Viking is going to be very crucial for shooting down that medevac, as well as being able to also do a lot of damage to those Hellions. And here comes the engagement. Hellions are getting some damage onto some SCVs, so SCVs are going down, but none of the Marines for Mcleod have actually been damaged just yet. It does look like Mcleod will be able to hold this attack off, but a lot of SCVs for Mcleod did go down in that engagement. 13 as a matter of fact. So Ender was able to do a lot of damage to his opponent, for his opponent's economy, but Mcleod does still have that earlier orbital, which will allow him to catch back up.
Yeah, but at the same time, look what Ender's doing behind us. He's expanding. He has that medevac up. He pulled out some of his units. He didn't lose all of them. I mean, he really didn't kill very many units, which does show the supply differential. But when it comes to the workers killed, man, that makes a big difference. Ender right now, he's on 27 workers to 17. And I feel like if Mcleod doesn't do some sort of a counterattack here, he's just going to be too far behind.
I mean, that's going to be really, really difficult for him to do, though, Niter, because Ender already has a lot of production available. He's able to produce 3 Marines at a time. He is also getting that reactor on his starport, but this timing for Mcleod is just perfect, just before the Marine production of Ender really kicks in. So Mcleod is going to be able to clear out this natural and really prevent Ender from mining from it at all. The supply is now 54 to 41, and even though Mcleod's not going to be able to break up this ramp, he is able to put himself into a much better position than he was in just 30 seconds ago. These guys are trading blows so quickly this early on in game number 1.
Yeah. Oh, Ender, pick up that orbital, man. You can't let it go down. He's just letting it die here. I feel like maybe he's trying to bait out so he can do a little bit of damage. But, man, that's so many Hellions. This Marine, this Bio Army is just going to get roasted.
He does have Marauders in there, Niter, and Hellions are terrible versus Marauders. But the thing is, though, is that the Hellion count for Mcleod is just way too high. It doesn't look like Ender actually has enough units to be able to hold this off. That orbital is on fire. Now, Mcleod is not going to be able to kill Ender with this, but he's evening up the economy very much behind this, and he's even getting ahead in tech. And behind this, Mcleod is actually dropping down 2 additional factories. So he's going to be going into mech from here, and Ender's production has been so badly hampered by this attack that I'm not sure he's going to be able to he's not going to be able to even anticipate his opponent's follow-up to this.
But I mean, Vindicator, look, they're even on SCVs again. Their supplies are fairly similar. Mcleod is ahead, but, you know, even on SCVs, so it's actually all right. I mean, Mcleod does have the advantage that he does have a Raven now, and a Raven building up energy is a little bit better than a Medevac building up energy. But I mean, all in all, they kind of traded almost evenly in the end.
They did, Niter. You're totally right about that. The only thing I'm concerned about for Ender at this point is that now he is going to be without siege tanks, and his opponent already has the production to start building them 2 at a time. Now I don't need to stress how important siege tanks are in this matchup. But the one thing though about Ender is that Ender has some spectacular bio control. So if he's able to actually get a good engagement on Mcleod, he might be able to make up that tech disadvantage that he's currently at. Yeah. But that's only if Mcleod leaves his base. Now, Mcleod should not be leaving his base. He did a lot of damage to Ender, evened up the economy, got ahead in tech a little bit. He needs to just sit back and potentially take a 3rd base from here.
Yeah, and I mean, the thing that always shines through in ISTL so far about Ender is his micro is unreal. His micro it makes up for sometimes when he's way down in army supply. He somehow pulls it out, you know, with a really good micro. And so maybe we're going to see, it looks like we're going to see a drop from Ender here. I feel like this could put him back in a better situation where he abuses the immobility of tanks.
I'm trying to see where that drop's actually moving out. I can't actually see it.
Oh, he just loaded it up and it's going out right now.
Okay, so there is going to be a drop moving out on the field for Ender, but Mcleod already has a Viking patrolling the left side of his base, so he's already taking precautions to make sure that he doesn't get killed by a single bad drop. And behind this, it doesn't look like Mcleod is actually interested in moving out all that quickly, and he is actually hiding his tank count up on his ramp, which is out of scan range from both the main base. So. Mcleod's kind of hiding his tech a little bit, which does tell me that he wants to move out at a timing. I just don't know what that timing is going to be just yet.
The other thing I find really cool about what Mcleod's doing is he's going for like this mech-heavy style, which has been proven that the really only way to beat it is to beat its mobility, really, is to drop here and there and like constantly put it on his toes. But look at what Mcleod's doing. He's putting up missile turrets. He's putting up Vikings around patrolling. He has Marines all over the map looking for drops. He's canceling out any chance of a drop to force an engagement up the middle, which is just not going to work for Ender.
Yeah, but Ender is now using the mobility of these bio units to take control of the watchtower. Mcleod is now starting to position himself a little bit more aggressively towards the front of his base. His tank count is still relatively low. He can't afford to trade with this army out in the middle of the map. But what he's trying to do is secure his 3rd base location with siege tanks so that he can then drop his command center down there. And if Mcleod manages to get up to a 3rd base relatively soon, Ender's going to be in a little bit of trouble. He's going to be dealing with a 3-base Terran that's going for mech, and he's only on 3 bases himself. It's not necessarily the best situation to be in.
The best chance for Ender right now, you know, when he is behind in army, really, because a mech army is just better than a bio army that can't really drop, is he needs to contain Mcleod on those 2 bases. And the ways he can do that is just the fact that siege tanks need a siege or they shoot. He can buy some time. And with all this time he's buying right now, he's getting a better economy, and then he can start throwing away the kind of non-cost-efficient Marine Marauder against the heavy siege tank Hellion opening.
The other thing that Ender is doing very well right now is that he is keeping on top of his upgrades. He understands very well that for Bio to even have a chance against siege tanks, they need to have good upgrades. And actually, there's going to be a really nice opening for Ender here if he wants to do some elevator play into the main, but there is a turret in a good position. Siege tanks are positioning themselves a little bit further back towards the natural expansion, and it does look like Mcleod's going to be able to get all of these medevacs of Ender, which is going to hamper his ability to do any sort of additional aggression. And I think Ender's in a position where he can't really advance any further than this.
Yeah, and I mean, that one missile turret took out 2 medevacs. That is huge. Losing 2 medevacs, 200 of resources to a missile turret, that's very painful for Ender. And I mean, that was just like he was focusing a lot on, getting those Hellions out of position, etc., and he just didn't even notice the missile turret, I don't think.
There was also a Viking there too, Niter, that was doing some damage to
the medevac. He sniped the last.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But I mean, in the end, you can't lose those medevacs for free, Yeah.
Now, but behind this, though, Ender is adding on additional production structures. He is continuing to power up his economy. What he really wants to do is just make sure that he has a good understanding of where Mcleod is currently positioned, and that he's not going to worry about things like Blue Flame Hellion drops in his main or something like that. He's comfortable keeping Mcleod on his side of the map, knowing that he can't advance up that ramp, and knowing that Mcleod can't necessarily leave either.
Yeah, no, I really like the way both players are playing. They're both playing really solid. Both haven't really made many mistakes. Both of them did aggression at the right time. They pulled back at the right time. It's really just been pretty much even game. But in the end, Mcleod does have a mech army. And a 200 mech army is a lot scarier than a 200 bio army.
But once again, too, if Ender manages to catch this army of Mcleod unsieged, now I don't think that's going to happen because Mcleod is not one of those players that's going to make a rookie mistake like keeping all of his tanks unsieged at one time. But that is an opportunity that Ender could siege if it presented itself. We do have some Hellions that are now starting to make their way around the map, and Mcleod is trying to do as what Artosis normally describes as trading minerals for minerals. He wants to get rid of some of these Hellions so that he could free up supply for more tanks, more Thors, and more Vikings, which are the more cost-efficient units supply-wise for this army that Mcleod is trying to build.
Yeah, and I mean, I feel like these Hellions have a good chance here. It looks like they're going to sneak right into the base there, and Ender does not have a wall-off on his natural or his surge, so these Hellions are going to do a lot of damage.
Yeah, definitely, Niter. These Hellions are getting into the third base location for Ender. They are getting a lot of SCV kills. There are a lot of SCVs that are bunched up, and here comes the bio forces for Ender. But Mcleod was able to get a nice volley on those SCVs, killing a lot of them in the process. So now the workers killed is up to 23 for Mcleod and 14 for Ender. So that small worker advantage that he was able to take at the beginning of the game is long gone. But look at what Ender's doing now, Niter. He is not messing around. He is going straight for a transition.
Yeah, and I mean, the part that I really like about what Mcleod did is he only lost, well, now he lost 2 more Hellions there, but I mean, right now, he's just freeing up supply. He doesn't care to lose those Hellions. Whatever. Hellions, I'll replace them with more siege tanks. And I mean, that's a really good position. But Ender is starting to make some transitions. And I feel like that he knows this is what he needs to start doing. He needs to change it up a bit because he's not going to beat a 200 army.
Yeah, the thing is, though, is that I don't think Mcleod realizes what Ender is doing just yet. He is taking a very big gamble by going this early into this battlecruiser tech. Now, if Mcleod gets a good scan off and sees all those starports or the fusion core, that will give him a very good tell that he needs to start moving out on the map. Without all of Ender's supply devoted to holding off aggression from Mcleod, he can't really stand up to the superior tank count that Mcleod currently has. And these tanks have +2 attack also. They absolutely rip into bioforces. And it does look like Ender might get an opportunity to snipe some tanks, but a good scan from Mcleod does allow him to see that army and siege his tanks up just in time. But at this point, Ender is trying to keep Mcleod from advancing. He knows that he can't hold his base if Mcleod manages to siege up in a good position, so he just wants to delay this push for as long as possible.
Yeah, and I mean, I feel like, he is trying to go into that battlecruiser transition, but they're not going to be up in time. They're not going to be out in time. And with that many Vikings, man, there's 9 Vikings out on the field. There's 2 Ravens. There's Thors. Ender's going for the base trade, and I feel like this is what he has to do right now because he will not beat that mech army.
This is actually a brilliant decision by Ender. I'm a little concerned that Mcleod didn't leave any siege tanks to actually protect his base. Marines and Marauders are able to win a base trade every single time versus a mech army because they're able to advance so much quicker, and this is going to turn into a really really intense base race scenario for both of these players, guys. Now, the one thing is that Mcleod has Vikings and Ender does not. So if Mcleod needs to lift those structures that he has, he needs to get them out of his main base. These bio units will win this base trade if Mcleod does not lift those structures off. And in the meantime, though, Mcleod is going to start sieging up the main base of Ender. And I think this is a little too late. Mcleod needs to get those structures out of his main base. He needs to evacuate.
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing is right now, Ender has 0 medevacs with his army. Every time he's stimming, his army is becoming weaker. At this point, it is impossible that he will beat that mech army in an engagement.
But the thing is, though, Niter, okay,
yeah.
Now Mcleod is going to start pulling back at this point. He doesn't have any more SCVs. He doesn't have any more. He doesn't have any more command centers. He can't remake his base. Meanwhile, Ender still can. He could still start producing units from here, although he isn't necessarily mining at this point. He does have the capacity to replace some of those units, but Mcleod is still at 132 supply of siege tanks. How do you combat that as a bio player who doesn't have any income?
Yeah, I mean, I think you're missing something though. You know, Mcleod does have 1 SCV, and he does have minerals to make one command center. So he could bust out a command center here, but it looks like that actually SCV is about to go down in a second here. Oh, it sneaks into the corner and it gets away. But
oh my God, that SCV is so crucial right now. If Mcleod's able to get a second command center going, he should be able to come away with this victory. Assuredly, Ender has been reduced to 68 supply. He is trying to produce a battlecruiser at this point, but Mcleod does have Vikings in that army, as well as a couple Ravens and a few Thors. So I think in a straight-up engagement, Mcleod still has the advantage even when this battle goes to the skies. But if Ender is able to eliminate the Viking count of Mcleod, Mcleod won't be able to actually win a base race because he doesn't have anything that can attack air units. So Ender could still force a draw at this point.
You know, if those Vikings deal work with the other Vikings, he does have the Viking lead Ender. And, I mean, if he can clear up those Vikings and somehow kill those couple Thors, he does win.
Here we go, though, Niter. Point defense drones were dropped by Ender. He was able to get a lot of shots off on those Vikings before the Thors were even able to come into the picture. But still, look at this tremendous siege tank count for Mcleod. Ender doesn't really have anything to actually deal with this. He has a single battlecruiser in production, but one battlecruiser is going to take a long time to actually destroy that many siege tanks. And is that battlecruiser even on the field? I think he might have canceled it. Oh, there it is. There is one battlecruiser. It's going to take that battlecruiser a long time to deal with the siege tank count of Mcleod.
Well, I mean, I think what the battlecruiser needs to do is focus down that Thor. He needs to kill those Thors, and then, I mean, oh no, Ender, one battlecruiser can take out 2 Thors, but I mean, it won't be able to if it gets killed by those Vikings.
Ender is pulling that battlecruiser back into his main base, though. He needs to get the 1 SCV he has over there to start repairing it immediately. But that SCV doesn't want to get into range of those siege tanks, but Mcleod can't even see up the ramp, so that's not even a point anyway. Mcleod is trying to push his way into the main base. This is so dense, Snyder. If Mcleod's able to start sieging up and destroying all the ground units, there might still be an opportunity for him to kill that 1 battlecruiser off, but where are the Thors of Ender?
Ender took down both of the Thors with 4 Marines and 1 battlecruiser.
Oh my God!
Right now, Mcleod has nothing that can shoot up.
This is one of the more crazy base trade scenarios I have ever seen, folks. Now, Ender doesn't have enough resources to make another command center, and that 1 command center he does have is currently sitting at 190 hit points. He needs to land mules to start repairing it. Meanwhile, for Mcleod, he is getting his own command center up. He is restarting SCV production, but he has no air units. He can't afford to lift any of those structures. Meanwhile, Mcleod is only able to destroy supply depots and any other structure that currently can't lift off. I think Ender is in a better position right now, especially with that battlecruiser on the field.
This is an amazing game to kick off the first game in the series. Like, I can't tell you how how getting over this game.
Mcleod's down. Ender's 1 command center, and this command center is going to burn down. He's not going to be able to repair it, Niter. This is crazy.
This is just absolutely ridiculous. And if you look at the main base of Mcleod right now, he's building a lot of Marines. He's going to get those Marines. Oh no, and Ender's losing Vikings to missile turrets. That can't happen. But I mean, with this many Vikings and then a battlecruiser, I mean, this is a tough situation right now for Mcleod.
Niter, I think we might We might have a draw. No, we're not going to have a draw. At this point, it won't be a draw. I think Ender can still win this, but at this point, he can't make any more units. Mcleod can still make units. Ender can't. He lost his last command center. It burned down. He has no more SCVs out on the map. He can't get any additional income ever in this game, but he has the superior Viking count, and he has a single battlecruiser.
But I mean, the thing that we have to remember is with a couple point defense drones or auto turrets and Vikings actually do surprisingly good damage against Bio. You know, you land all those Vikings and that battlecruiser, he will take out this Bio force and he could take this game right here. But he has to find it soon enough because if he takes too long to scout this, he's in a lot of trouble.
All right, well, Mcleod is landing those Vikings. He is killing off those missile turrets. Those missile turrets are actually very, very important right now. There are some Marines in production for Mcleod. Mcleod hasn't actually started an orbital. That would be kind of a good idea considering where he currently is. Every single shot that these missile turrets are able to land on these Vikings is absolutely critical. The fact that that battlecruiser is currently sitting at 259 hit points is also critical. But here's the other problem for Mcleod. He didn't open Bio. He opened with Mech. Those Marines are completely unupgraded. He has, he's completely unupgraded Marines against a battlecruiser with +2 armor. That's 5 armor. That means that these Marines do 1 damage per shot to this battlecruiser. This is a really tricky situation for Mcleod.
This is what really worries me. Oh, now Ender finally is scouting that base. He sees that this is where the base is because this entire time he's been looking for that base and he's about to scout it.
Oh, and we also have Mcleod running a lot of his Hellions into those auto turrets. He loses 3 of them. He is trying to bring those Hellions back to guard his Marines. He wants to lift this command center off so he can start mining again. And Ender's got to do something about this. The longer this game goes, the better of a position Mcleod's going to be in because he's the only one that's currently mining. But I think in a direct engagement with these Vikings and this battlecruiser, I think Ender can come away with this if he's able to spot this command center and bring it down.
Yeah, this is just an amazing game. I can't tell you how tight this is. I just like either player winning this, I would be stoked. Like this is an amazing first match.
I just don't see how Mcleod's going to be able to deal with this battlecruiser. This battlecruiser literally takes 1 damage a shot from those Marines because of how much armor it has. This is a really tough spot for Mcleod. Mcleod has been able to relocate that command center, but he needs to start producing something other than Marines if he wants to have a chance against this. Yeah. But what do you build against this? Your opponent's got Vikings and Ravens.
The thing that worries me right now, Ender is finally going to this base. He's not finding that command center. He's constantly trying to find where the Hellions are moving around to, but that's not what he needs to be able to win.
All right, well, Ender has found the barracks of Mcleod. He is slowly starting to pick away at these barracks, but Ender has almost no vision all over the map. Meanwhile, Mcleod has perfect understanding of where his opponent's units are. The element of surprise is still Mcleod's, but, I mean, look at this army that Ender has. It's still very formidable. Each of these Vikings has 2 armor.
Yeah. And the thing is, right now, these Marines can't leave this base. You see Mcleod, he's tucking his Marines in the corner. He's, praying that Ender does not scout these. But I can't see how Ender doesn't see them. He's going to take out these buildings. He's going to run right into those Marines. Oh, no. Vindicare, you're dropping. Oh, no. This is too intense for this to happen. Yeah, I'm still here. Okay, it seems we lost Vindicare. But right now, Ender, he's just checking out the base. He sees a bunch of Marines as well. I don't think he's actually noticed these Marines, though. No, they're still he's with the landed barracks right beside the Marines, and that's definitely going to show him where those Marines are.
Yeah, I'm back now, Niter. I had a little bit of a hiccup with my connection, but you're right. He did now see these Marines, and these Marines are trying their absolute best to do as much damage to this army as they can, but there's no way that they can actually deal any damage to the upgraded air units of Ender, and Ender is able to come away with that game. One of the craziest base rates I have seen in Starcraft 2 in a long time. And wow, what a way to kick off this series.
Man, I don't even know what to say. That was just simply unbelievable. That was such an amazing game. Yeah, that was too cool of a way to start. I love how 4 Marines and the battlecruiser took out the 2 Thors. And I mean, honestly, I'm pretty sure one battlecruiser could take out 2 Thors because Thors really do bad damage against upgraded armor flying units, unless they're clumped, of course, like Neelis. But I mean, that was just an amazing game. Like, you think about it in so many different ways. If there was like a couple more Vikings in the army from Mcleod, or if that battlecruiser just didn't finish, because really it finished with like 10 seconds longer on the build time, and it would not have finished, and he would have won.
If Ender had spotted that starport with the tech lab and had focused it down, if he had eliminated that battlecruiser, I'm pretty sure that game would have been very different, because then the Vikings couldn't do anything to the siege tank. That single battlecruiser killed literally every single siege tank in Mcleod's army. I mean, you can't, like, there's so many situations where that game could have gone either way once they decided to go for a base race. I can't, like, that game was so crazy it caused my internet to spaz out. That's how crazy that game was.